used to. Some days I'm not myself, there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Moving on, moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself, there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I'm moving on.
Talking to myself and I can't focus. Yeah, I'm broken. The door is closing. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. Oh, seeing the stars reminds me of you. Oh, oh, oh. You left me with scars, but I know that one day you'll see it through. You see it through. You see it through. Eh. You see it through. You see it through. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife. We gonna live forever, forever. The talking to myself and I can't focus. Yeah, I'm broken. The door is closing. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. Seeing the stars reminds me of you. Oh, oh, oh. You left me with scars, but I know that one day you'll see it through. You see it through. You see it through. Ay. You see it through. You see it through. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife. We gonna live forever, forever. The
A pair of jeans, a shirt or two. We didn't pack as if we weren't going back. It doesn't matter if it's true. I've got a feeling love will give us what we lack. The world is waiting up. The world is waiting half a step beyond our door. Yeah. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights. Tomorrow feels a year away, like the seconds, the beginning and the end. But if in time it's yesterday, your picture's gonna bring it home to me again. The world is waiting up. The world is waiting half a step beyond our door. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights.
All right, everybody, we meet again for week number 5 of Titan. Maybe week number 6. I don't know. We've been here for a while. So I'm going to assume it is week number 5, but we have a draft on the board.
Week 6.
And I'm pretty sure we've seen these two teams play each other before, Anti. I think so.
Yeah, I believe so. Now, whether or not we saw these two teams fight, exactly on these sides, I'm not 100% certain on that. Now, what I can tell you is that Omega Mario Kart 7 has managed to get all the way to week 6 without dropping a single game. This team is just absolutely killing it every single one of these times. And, Khan definitely going to try to do their best to take them out here. The Smolder always being taken off the table, though, despite being blue side. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's looking like Team Con, they're not into those 30-minute games. And, sometimes we're not into those 30-minute games. We're casters. We like to see some actions on left, right, and center. I'm sure the viewers at home like to see that as well. So, but we can't help with where the meta has shifted to. So Rizzy's going to be opting up for that Karma. Haven't seen her around for a little bit. She has been the target of a couple of nerfs, but will be pulled out. We don't know where that could be. Could be top, could be mid, could be bot. But we have a Jax off on the table already. What a spicy pick.
Yeah, I mean, Jax blind is a pretty interesting pick here. Now, the thing is, it could still go into the jungle. It's not 100% going to be locked into that top lane just yet. The Rakan, on the other hand, very much locked in for that support, right? So this Karma could be going support, could be going mid, could be going top. Everything is still pretty nebulous on the side of Khan. Wukong, almost always going to be in the jungle. We could see some Wukong Senna shenanigans, but with the Nautilus coming out, I'm gonna doubt that we're gonna see something along those lines. Now, Senna Nautilus is something that's pretty common. Now, on the side of Omega Mario Kart 7, they are going to be pulling out the Swain, which we've been seeing a lot of lately. A lot of Swains, a lot of Death Balls, right? And with Jax and Rakan, Swain can absolutely get into that backline. It's all about running at you really fast, right? Now, there's the Senna that we were talking about, right? Where Senna Nautilus, one of those good compositions. So they are going to take that one right off the table. Smolder's also off the table along with Lucian and Draven. So, with 4 AD carry bans from the side of Omega Mario Kart 7, I do not believe King Coney wants to really fight against verticality, because that is spooky as hell. On the other side, we've got 2 AD carry bans, so that's 6 out of 10 bans towards AD carry. Weak roll, by the way.
Yeah, totally not a weak roll, but one of the more predominant AD carries is still on the board, and that could be Ashe. And when you have a Swain on your team, that is something you definitely probably want to opt towards. I believe that they could also go for something like, the Xayah, just about to mention, they have Rakan. Yep, Xayah and Rakan. Obviously, might as well take that. There's no reason not to. So verticality, on the other hand, this tells me that this Karma is most likely going to be chucked into the mid lane. It could be chucked into the top side. I think last time we saw Khan, they whipped out a top side Karma, which was very, very sneaky and entertaining to watch. But they're going to opt for the I'm blanking on that champion's name, even though I one-tricked that champion. I forgot. Yes, they're going to be opting for the Sivir and Nautilus. Great bot lane duo. They're not going to be wanting to fight, which means they're going to go for some top side pressure. And with a Talia on the map, I mean, this could be a Wukong top. That's a possibility.
Yeah, it could be a Wukong top. And okay, so that's a Fiora, meaning that it is, in fact, the Jax jungle here. So, I mean, Fiora into, let's say, Karma or Wukong, honestly, she'll do fine, right? Fiora's one of those champions that no matter what matchup it is that she's going against, she will eventually get to the point where you cannot deal with her. Like, the amount of champions that can deal with a Fiora in the late game would probably be like Nasus and Tryndamere. It's super, super hard to deal with that champion once she scales up, but it's a matter of letting her get to that point. Now with Karma and Wukong, you can throw so much pressure into that top side, especially with the Nautilus roams and the Talia roams.
Now I gotta tell you, Anti, something that definitely scares me is looking at all of the champions on Khan's side and looking at that Wukong. What do you basically see there? Because you got one very early game champion and 4 30-minute champions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, right? Because on one side, you have the Karma, you have the Wukong, two champions who are very, very strong in the mid game, kind of start to fall off towards the later side of the game in terms of the damage. But you're still going to be providing a lot of utility to your team, right? Wukong still has double knockups. You know, man can ult twice. You can never take that one away from him. Karma still going to be able to output tons and tons of shields the later that the game goes. Meanwhile, you know, Talia only gets stronger as late as the game goes, and Sivir is one of those AD carries that is said to have a 6-item power spike because of how late game of a champion she really is indexed towards, right? And one thing I do want to bring attention to here, Cilantro, is that the Sivir pick here with the Nautilus, I love a lot because it allows you to wave clear into the Xayah Rakan and let the Nautilus roam. And like we said earlier, if you let the Fiora just farm up and scale to the point where she becomes uncontestable, you're in for a bad time, so you need that Nautilus to leave.
Yeah, and I'm going to be looking at how Rizzy can respond to this Fiora, get some poke damage down. We see Shima is already a little bit down on mana in this mid-fight battle we got going on. He's going to get rooted up by the Swain. Both of them at half HP, nearly a quarter of HP. Maybe Shima is looking to fight this. Is going to commit the reverse slide. One knockup. Oh, he barely is able to dodge that one with the flash. There's no HP left online. Got to be careful, though, Shima, because Riddy is around and in the area. So, but an almost very, very early on fight between both these two mid laners.
Yeah, meanwhile, both junglers going to be clearing red to blue side, right? Not going to be confronting each other anytime soon, just looking to get a large amount
nice
of...
root's gonna come. The grand entrance. Coney looking to knock up more. Verticality is able to respawn with the shurikens though. And actually that Rakan is now quarter of HP. One Nautilus dredge line lands. Ignite procs down. That could be first blood on the bot side.
Absolutely could be, and especially with both of those health pots now burnt, right? The moment that you get another one of those trades off, Rakan is a sitting duck. The exhaust is still available, but so is the ignite for Mugi here. So Verticality getting a crucial bit of poke here and there. I mean, the boomerangs, the ricochets, every single little bit counts here. Meanwhile, in the top lane, King Coney not having the greatest of times. You know, this one's the top Coney. These Omega Mario Kart 7 definitely an interesting team to say the least. I do gotta say, the fact that we have 4 King Conies and then the one person who's not King Coney is Riddy, but the enemy top laner for Omega Mario Kart 7, right? For Con is Rizzy. So we just got, you know, matching names all around.
That is true. And Shima is landing the nice trades on the Swain, but Absolar looking for a Wukong engage onto the Rakan. He's going to be able to dash away to the ADC. They're looking for a re-engage as they see Verticality's health bar, and they have the range. They feel comfortable to be able to poke down. The stun's not going to come out of Shima onto the Swain, but he might win out in the 1v1 anyway. He's going to be able to flash a little bit late on that as the eye ended up hitting him anyway, but he does get first blood in that mid lane. And now Rizzy taking the fight to Fiora, already has her at about quarter of HP. One empowered Q will send her back to her tower, has to recall, has the TP online. But look where Riddy is looking to get those Void Grumplings. Already has one, looking to get the full stack. Maybe actually just going for the topside gang. Is not spotted on a ward just yet. Instead, oh no, he was spotted on the ward, so he's going to pull the Void Grumblings back to the pit and is going to continue to farm them up. While Absolar recognizes this and is going to take first dragon of the game.
Yeah, it's interesting here that Riddy is choosing to take the entirety of the Void Grubs, right? There are some junglers who lately have been just going for single Void Grub, so that way, because the first Void Grub really is the only one that gives you your jungle item stack, right? So you take that first Void Grub, and then you go back to the jungle, so that way you don't mess up your tempo, and then you just, you know, move over, so that way you can do things like Contest Dragon. Now, you know, it makes sense here because Absolar has so much priority in that bot lane, and with the mid lane solo kill, there's just nothing that Riddy can do to contest that dragon, so instead just go straight up for those Void Grubs, and oh my god, Coney is just taking so much damage in this mid lane. Like, this Swain was picked blind early on, and they're making it seem like quite the rough lane.
I gotta tell you, I love playing Talia in the mid lane. One of my favorite champions to one trick in the mid lane. And, you know, Shima's putting on an excellent performance. Already has those Ionian boots online as well. And he's just taking the fight to the Swain. No holds barred. Does not matter. I think we've seen stun after stun after stun. Meanwhile, look at that mini map. It is Muzi looking for a dredge line potentially on this way, but it's going to turn around onto Riddy instead. Shima's coming in the area too, forced to back away to the Rakan to get that shield off, and no, nothing will end up coming up of that, but great poke damage. That's going to buy a little bit of time to keep this Jax out from the, you know, those jungle clear timings. Meanwhile, mid lane, Muzi's walking up again. Swain's going to commit ultimate, is going to get rooted up. Do they have the damage? Flash forward from Napsar is able to help clean up that kill. In the top side, not going to get the parry onto Rizzy, but will commit the ultimate. They're dueling it out here. Tony might not be able to finish it off, as you know, that ult is countered by a, you know, map feature called i.e. a wall. And yeah, lots of fighting happening back and forth, but nothing really coming up out of it except for another mid lane trade.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about earlier, Cilantro, where Verticality is able to get the push in, so that way Mugi is just allowed. I'm sorry, Mugi? I can't read that. Is just where Muzi's just allowed to roam wherever it is that they want, right? I mean, the Nautilus has so much value with the roams, especially the moment that Nautilus hits 6, right? But, you know, in the meantime, right, you walk to the mid lane, you auto the enemy mid laner, and it's a guaranteed seismic shove, right? This composition is very, very well built here for that early game dominance and scales very well into that late game. I like it a lot. Now, the big question, honestly, is how much damage can this Karma really do, right? It's not really about the damage numbers themselves. It's about how long can Karma actually hold back the Fiora, because despite all of that poke, despite all of that pressure that Rizzy has been putting out, you've lost all 3 of the Void Grubs in the first spawn, and you're down farm. So, you know, the Karma, while we know for a fact that she's okay towards the later stages of the game, is not going to be able to scale nearly as well as the Fiora. So it's a question as to whether or not this Karma pick is really the play.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see into the late game. They're both even, not really much of a CS lead on either side. The Lost Chapter has been picked up, but a Vampiric Scepter is on the other side of that matchup. So we're going to start seeing eventually, like you said, that 80 start to be able to punish Rizzy on this Karma pretty substantially. It's going to have better advantages in those 1v1s. Meanwhile, Verticality able to take a plate on this bot side turret. And there are 3 members towards there. With Muzi recalling, Verticality's got to be a little bit careful, as we will have the second dragon spawning in about a minute and a half. So Riddy wants to get some priority towards this bot side, maybe looking to pull this Rakan with him for a mid lane gank, but I believe they are not spotted out just yet. But Shima's got to be aware something's going on, or they're just looking to play off his jungler to help get these Void Grubs. Now, if Absol is able to solidify these, it will mean absolutely nothing, because the objective will be null and void. They're going to spot all 3 members now. And now it's up to Karma potentially roaming down. Flash forward with the quickness. Is going to be able to charm up to him. That's Swain in there with the flash. With the ultimate online, he's going to be able to tank up absolutely everything. The Cyclone, not nearly enough for Absol to trade out onto his mid laner. Trying to get the pick onto the Rakan, but will not find it. Rizzy forced the flash on this. Karma has to dodge out the eye as well. And this Fiora did absolute great wonders as they pull it back in. Can they finish it off? Yes! That would be Fiora picking up the top side kill. And what an absolute performance coming out from Omega Mario Kart 7 here. That Fiora kept Karma from being able to roam down in time and kept the numbers advantage for their team.
Yeah, it was a beautiful stuff from Omega Mario Kart 7, you know, finding those shortcuts on the map to just get to the right place at the right time faster than Khan there, right? The entirety of this game, Khan has had such good rotation, such good pacing, and that's what we love about Omega Mario Kart 7. They just run straight in, ruin your pacing, and take everything, right? You know, they'll waltz into your house, start making, you know, an omelet with your frying pan, and if you ask them what's wrong, you ask them, like, hey dude, why are you in my house? They'll beat you to death with a frying pan, right? You don't want to deal with these guys.
I love where the analogy was going there. I honestly had no clue where you were going with that, but I see that, Mario Kart 7 wants to go into this jungle to go for a fight. The Swain ultimate is back online, and that is Zaya picking up their first kill of the game. Absol will end up falling as well, and right now it's looking like the tide of the game has turned entirely into the favor of Mario Kart 7. I think partially has to do with the fact that Triforce is online for Riddy, but they're going to be able to pick up their first dragon of the game off of another substantial one-sided team fight.
Yeah, I mean, Omega Mario Kart 7 is the #1 team right now
for
a reason.
Don't do it to him.
God.
He goes over the wall with the Grand Entrance in verticality. You're not allowed to have fun playing AD carry. I just got to tell you that, man. Hey, a nice root is going to get some damage onto the Fiora, but the Fiora will be traded out. But yep, first dragon of the game, and we have a Cloud Soul anti.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud Soul, definitely a fun one, but oh my lord.
Oh my god, Fiora's committed to this. It needs one more bit of healing. The life steals his aim, flashes forward as well. The parry comes off. What? That's obviously the true King Coney right there after the play we just saw.
Yeah, and just like that, the solo kill from King Coney. This Fiora is the one champion that you cannot let get ahead, that you cannot let be relevant in this game, and that's one of the things that we love about the Karma top, right? It's designed to keep the Fiora from getting the ability to play the game, but it has not been able to do so. Right? Rizzy can only hold that Fiora back for so long, and now you're going to start to need to put more people up there, right? It can't just be a 1v1. Muzi, unlocked from the lane, just allowed to go wherever. You need that Nautilus to go towards that top lane. You need to bring Absol in, to bring Shima in. You need to keep this Fiora from playing this game because, God, King Coney in that top lane is very much playing this game, and it does not feel like Khan is coming out on top.
Yep, and Fiora, devastating split pusher, and has a 20 CS lead, and Void Grubs on top of that. So she's going to be pressuring those towers. Verticality committing to a fight here. Feathers have not been chosen to fly just yet, but the quickness will be coming out. It's a double knockup and charm. Verticality forced to burn the flash there, as Cooney still not committing those feathers flying just yet. Absol is roaming down. I think they were able to spot out Shima coming. Does not have that Weaver's Wall, though. Will get rooted up from the Swain. So a very interesting bot side gank there, looking to be a little bit more in favor of Mario Kart 7 there. But Swain pulls in, is going to commit to the fight on Shima, get a little bit more life steal. Can he be able to win out this 1v1? One more Q. Will he do it? He will! The max range off of the electric fingers, putting out his true Emperor Palpatine impression.
And just like that, I cannot believe the spacing on that to just barely avoid any tower shots, to still get the healing, to get the damage off. I mean, this is an airy Swain, right? I mean, those long extended fights usually would go the way of someone who was taking Conqueror, right? Something that's designed for those longer fights. And yes, airy does give you that tiny bit of extra damage, but this is all about poke. And I mean, mid lane Coney doing a great job, going to be able to stay in this Cosmic Drive rush of all items. Really interesting decisions here. So I'm so excited to see how this Deathball comp gets up and running, because 2 and 8 to start things off at 15 minutes is the exact place where you want to be as a Deathball comp.
And your strongest side of the map is your top side, which is another place you really want to be. But somehow Absol, okay, we missed an Absol gank mid lane where Shima was able to pick up a kill onto Swain. I think we recalled it just to be able to see what is happening here. Got a little bit of a replay. Yep, force out the flash onto the Swain. No time to proc the ultimate. Didn't have Ghost online either, but yeah, you've got a very strong top side, which I think is also very crucial for this game, because you have the Fiora split pushing threat off of the Void Grubs that you got very early on. And then obviously we've seen Jax as a team fighting menace, obviously. Has the Triforce online too. Zaya, Rakan, and Swain, they're kind of just going to be surviving in the fight and chucking out damage. So as we see a flash off the quickness, can they be able to pick up the kill though? Forced out multiple flashes. It's looking like the Rakan is the one really weak here. Rizzy's going to TP into this as well. The Cyclone's going to be committed. He flashes over the wall. Can they find the Rakan though? Yep, they are able to pick up at least one and cycloning the rest of them. Rizzy's going to be able to stun up, and that is the Fiora ultimate procced out onto that top laner as well. It is a Nautilus ultimate onto the Fiora. Can't parry out that one, but Rizzy's forced to flash, and it does not matter. They're 2v3. Will they be able to 2v4 though? Rizzy's going on to verticality with the stun, but it's going to get spell shielded off the Sivir W, and now he's trying to chase down this Fiora. Swain is coming in for a little bit of backup of verticality. I don't think you want to commit to that.
Yeah, and Riddy finally going to be going down here. 8 kills on that Jax. Finally ends up going down. Meanwhile, you know, you've got so much damage in that mid tower, so much damage across the map. 6 Void Grubs. Dear Lord, on the side of Omega Mario Kart 7, there's just so much control across this team, and now that you're hitting your item breakpoints, you can really start to see this team come alive, right? 16 minutes, 17 minutes in, we're seeing everyone at 1 item, 1.5 items across the board. So, you know, Khan might opt to fight for this Cloud Drag. Meanwhile, King Coney in that top lane just going to continue to split push, right? It is a death ball composition, but that's the beauty of this Fiora. She does not need to be a part of that death ball. You've got a phenomenal death ball without her, while she just gets her own ball rolling in that side lane.
Yep, and she pulled Abstar to the top side, which is all you could really ask for if you are Mario Kart 7. Still got that Rift Herald in the back pocket as well. Can drop that mid lane if you wanted to have a little bit of extra pressure to keep them off of this dragon. But second dragon should be going into the pocket. First Cloud Dragon of the game for Mario Kart 7. And now how are they going to potentially play off of this? We don't have Baron up for a bit. Are they going to force fights? It's looking they might want to move to the bot side, maybe drop that Rift Herald. It's probably going to be expiring soon, seeming as how we have 2 minutes before the Baron comes online. So they are not dropping it just yet, but they probably do want to solidify this bot tower, get a little bit off of after clearing that first objective. And nobody is in the bot side to help out this Talia. They're all looking for this Fiora. She's able to get under the tower at least, does parry the Nautilus ultimate, and is able to get out for free. 1v3, flashes the match 3 for all hell's sake, and just gets out alive with their life. And meanwhile, Xayah 1v1ing the Sivir in the mid lane. That is an ADC diff if we have ever seen one. And mid turret and bot turret will be falling simultaneously, and this game is looking all Mario Kart 7.
Yeah, King Coney coming out on top, whether you're bot, mid, top, or going backwards to the other side of the court here. Okay, we're drifting over here all the way into the base, and oh lord, King Coney is in trouble.
It's just to live a little bit longer. Weaver as well is going to come down. That actually cuts off the majority of your team, so that one's a little bit interesting to me. Rakan and Xayah should be able to escape here. No one's going to get rooted up, but they saved the mid tier 2 in the meantime. But a lot was committed there. Don't know if you can burn this fast enough, Fiora, but they don't really have the health bars to kind of stop you. Riddy is in the area too. Honestly, I'd limit, test, and fight this, and I think that's exactly what Riddy wants to do, is going to be able to find that Nautilus. Has the Grandmaster out of arms, doesn't get a pocket just yet. Going to be able to stun up the Nautilus. Muzi forced to burn the flash. Rizzy's going to be able to root up that jungler, but the Fiora's Fate Duel comes down. Probably going to be looking to get a double kill. Might get traded out onto the tower. And then meanwhile, in the mid lane, it's looking like the bot side of Kart Esports came out on top in a 2v2 there, as the Xayah was able to get slain and I think gave over a shutdown to the Sivir.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just the 2v2 bot lane, you know, Verticality cheated a little bit, swapped out Muzi for that Wukong, right? Meanwhile, Verticality now going to be the one getting caught out here, does get tagged by that Eye of Uninstallation, but with the Sivir Spell Shield, you're going to be just fine, right? It does not matter if you get hit by it in neutral, you're still going to be walking out, not going to be slowed, not going to be taking any of that damage. But, I mean, that Ghost being popped before Baron spawn is... Sorry, not before Baron spawn, but right before a potential Baron fight could be quite large. Right? You still do have the Sivir ultimate available, and Muzi is doing fine, right? Looked like we're having a bit of connection problems, but Muzi already back in the game, just very quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, you might have been spotted on a ward here. They're going to end up trying to run you down 2 minutes before the next dragon spawns. Does pick up that little scuttle crab. Not going to really do much for his team. Helps out a little bit. Helps with that vision battle. But honestly, in this point of the game, I feel like Mario Kart 7 should just go for the Baron. You've only got about a 5k gold lead. I say you can give this dragon. It doesn't really matter. I say go for the Baron, expand your gold lead, get more items on all of your carries, and then you can win realistically any fight that comes into the game single-handedly. At this point, you have an 8-15 score line. You're up by almost 2 items on all champs. The only people who don't have 2 items are your support and top side. Looking to build into that, I believe, the Maw Malmortius, which is...
Yeah, I believe it's going to be Triforce. Yeah, Hex Drinker into Triforce.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we got the Phage for. That's what we got the Sheen for. It is very, very likely going to be the Hex Drinker sit right on top of that. But in the meantime, we got Coney walking through the river as Coney gets joined up by not Coney, but Riddy. Meanwhile, the other Coney is getting caught out here.
Oh. The Swain route does not land. It only goes onto the Cologne. Maybe they're looking for some sort of fight flip here on the Baron. No TP out of the Fiora, though. So this Karma is pulled. She's mainly just existing to pull this Karma. It's going to pull Shima, too. So they're going to have multiple numbers advantages. Nautilus ultimate was forced there just as a kiting mechanism, and that's honestly a crucial ultimate. They're going to go ahead and force this Baron. It's a 4v4, but they're feeling like they have the advantage in this, so they're gonna go ahead and go look for that flip. Absol has the Cyclone online, might be looking for a team fight entry here, but they could flip at any point if it's Mario Kart 7.
Yeah, meanwhile, Coney's still just gonna keep pushing down the side lane. That Triforce completion is so big because now if Rizzy leaves for even a short bit, that's not just the tower gone. That's going to be the tower, the inhib, and then potentially Nexus towers, right? That teleport on the Karma is there as a deterrent, but is very much not going to be available for any of these big fights. Meanwhile, Verticality is going to be able to pick up that dragon as Omega Mario Kart 7 are looking to pick up the entire Baron.
A grand entrance onto Absol. Meanwhile, the Fiora is 1v1ing with the ultimate on this Karma. Might be able to pick up the kill. The Baron has been slain. She does slay that first inhibitor turret, and it's Swain not looking to give up this fight just yet. A dash forward with the Cyclone is going to be able to end up costing Absol their life, but it is traded out 1-for-1 by Verticality. Can they continue to fight this though? Riddy flashes forward. The spell shield is going to be able to block out the stun, and Shima with the rock slide is going to push lots of the members away. The Dredge line after the feathers have been flying keeps Coney at bay, but they have yet to kill this 80 carry. Will end up falling to Mosey, and Riddy should be next. Maybe trades out for Shima. No, does not get the kill. So you got the Baron, you lost the Baron, and you got an inhibitor turret. Lots of shutdowns in favor of Khan as well. This is not looking pretty for Mario Kart 7 right now.
Yeah, I mean, you still do have that Baron on the Fiora, so you're still going to be having the ability to make use of it in the side lane, but that is rough. Losing the Baron on, 3-4 members on the side of Omega Mario Kart 7. Meanwhile, you still have it on your mid laner, you still have it on your top laner. So the solo laners are going to reign supreme here. But, the jungle and bot lane, very much hurting over here. So right now, I do believe that Omega Mario Kart 7's best opportunity is go for a 1-4, right? I mean, a 1-3-1 is generally ideal when you have the Jax and have the Fiora, but a 1-4 composition here allows you to get the Baron in two lanes, where, you push it down the mid lane, you push it down the top lane, and you use those Baron buff minions to pressure the towers that are up. Right, and open inhib is so easy to take, but the inhib tower is so unbelievably difficult into champions like the Sivir, into champions like the Talia. There's so much wave clear from the side of Khan that unless Omega Mario Kart 7 can force them to take a fight around an objective, it's very difficult.
And they're going to force a fight onto this Fiora. The Cyclone's going to come down. He's going to be able to parry up onto the Nautilus, get the stun down, commits ultimate for a little bit of the lifesteal, and is able to get out for free. They're finding it really hard to catch out this Fiora, even with sending more than 3 members there. But now they've got to respond to a bot side push, as Swain still has a Baron buff, so they cannot leave those minions to their own accords. Still only about a 6, almost 7k gold lead in the pocket of Mario Kart 7. One more lost team fight, and that gold lead is going to be exponentially gone. But They're looking for a potential fight here. One more mid wave. They're going to look to take this tower while this Fiora pushes out the top side with that Baron buff. They're going to send Shima and Muzi there, noticing that they have to put multiple members onto this Fiora and start to give away a little bit of this mid lane pressure. This is a really hard split for Khan because both of these stacks can take anything at any point. And you see, they've just roamed into the bot side with that Baron buff to try to take this inhibitor. That's going to open up the top and mid lane turrets, potentially. It's a decent 2-2-1 here to be able to stall out these pushes with a Sivir and a Wukong. They can clear waves pretty fast, as well as Talia. But here's one more bot wave, not Baron buffed this time around. Swain's going to get knocked in, forced to commit the ultimate, but they're going to probably choose to just fight it out here, help their Swain live. Dredgeline not going to be able to find much of anything, and it's Swain not getting much lifesteal offline off of that either, and they're going to be forced to retreat a Mario Kart 7.
Yeah, I mean, the Baron buff is gone, the push is dead, and there's basically no way for the side of a Mega Mario Kart 7 to get past that Sivir, to get past that Talia, right? There's so much wave clear, just as we were talking about earlier, right? I mean, you are going to be able to scale up, and it is still a death ball composition here, but, you know, Khan on the other side just have to hold on, have to keep this game going as boring as you can have it, right? The less interaction, the better if you're Khan here. You just want to farm up. You want to get your Sivir to that 6-item power spike, right? I mean, you're already sitting at 3 3/4, right? What's another 1 or 2 more?
I agree. You're really close. You got Navori, you've got that Phantom Dancer, so you already have a ton of attack speed. I'm really looking at Shima on this Talia, absolutely carrying right now, has 5 Dark Seal stacks too, so they're looking to press this mid lane advantage that they have into any fight. It's realistically their best opportunity so far. They still got to be wary of this Fiora and this Jax though. You know, you mentioned getting that Sivir to 6 items. Zaya's going to be close to that as well, and it's going to be difficult to see who can come out on top during that fight if the Xayah gets left alone in the backline to do her own accords. Meanwhile, they're going to be looking to grab Soul Point Mario Kart 7, recognizing that there's no real angle because of the wave prioritization that they have. That Khan can respond to this, and we will have Baron in about a minute. This is probably going to be a do or die fight.
Yeah, I mean, whoever takes this Baron, I honestly think that if Mega Mario Kart 7 take this Baron, they have a pretty decent shot of ending the game. But if Khan takes this Baron, there's actually so much wave clear and so much damage to towers that they can output that this could actually be really, really coin flippy. If you're a Mega Mario Kart 7, honestly, I don't think you want to take the Baron. I think that you just want to sit around, bait it, look for a fight, and then, you know, just slap Khan with your wallet. Right? There's not so much that you can do against an enemy team when you've already taken a ton of damage from Baron, taken a lot of your resists and dropped those. But, you know, Omega Mario Kart 7 have to be really careful about that AoE, but there's also a ton of AoE on the side, against Khan, right? So, you know, you've got the Jax, you've got the Swain. I don't even need to talk about Xayah Rakan at this point because
Rizzy here. Forces the flash out of Rizzy too. That's actually crucial. This Fiora can keep this Karma and this bot side. They can look for a same play like they did last time to take this Baron. She's looking to just pressure the crap out of this inhibitor. Will end up taking it. No response necessary. Now, Rizzy, you can TP to this fight all you want, but you have no flash online. And that's exactly what Mario Kart 7 is looking for. They want to be able to punish this topsider.
Yeah, it's not just the fact that there's no flash for Rizzy. It's the fact that top King Coney is sitting in this bot lane just looking to continually pressure. There's just no way that you can leave them alone. And oh my lord, just like that, Absolar might be going down here.
The Cyclone is a huge double knockup, making a triple knockup. And Verticality's able to find the Rakan, but will trade their life out for that full flash from Xayah. The feathers will end up falling. That's the Swain able to trade out onto Absolar. Now Muzi has about no HP left in the tank. The Blast Cone is not going to take you anywhere, Shima. And it's looking like GG's in the chat, left, right, and center. The Fiora TPing to the bot side wave, as it is the only one open so far. Meanwhile, they're going to try to pull in this mid wave, maybe looking to just all push through into the bot side, eating turret damage, but another Fiora ultimate onto this Karma. Flashes forward, is able to get the ace down, and this looked like it was a potential comeback for Con, but Mario Kart 7 were able to take it due diligently.
Yeah, and that's the number one team coming in clutch here. It looked so good for Khan in the early game, but Omega Mario Kart 7 going to finish that lap and take that blue shell and just shove it straight into Khan's face. Gonna make sure that anyone ahead of Omega Mario Kart 7 is not going to be able to stay there for very long. So, game number one going to our reigning leaders, but I mean, that was looking great for Khan at the beginning of that. It's a question as to whether or not it pays off for them going throughout the series.
Yeah, and if I'm Mario Kart 7, I'm hitting the I'm hitting the VOD, something in the little bit of time that we have. Like, okay, what mistakes were we making in that late game that allowed Khan to start coming back? Because next time, Khan might capitalize on those mistakes and take it all the way to the end. So maybe they'll be the team to take a first map off of Mario Kart 7, or Mario Kart 7 might take the clean 2-0. But either or, we saw these two teams duke it out the first time, and they're absolutely performing for us once again. And we will see you in game number 2.
Was wrong to say I wouldn't change a thing, 'cause in the story of our lives, the best of times through colored glass, time rolls on enough to let me move on past, but every little now and then it creeps on back to shade my smile. Was wrong to say I wouldn't change
loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself. There's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Moving on, moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, moving on. Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself. There's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on.
Talking to myself and I can't focus. Yeah, I'm broken. The door is closing. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. Oh, seeing the stars reminds me of you. Oh, oh, oh. You left me with scars, but I know that one day you'll see it through. You see it through. You see it through. Eh. You see it through. You see it through. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife. We gonna live forever, forever. The Talking to myself and I can't focus. Yeah, I'm broken. The door is closing. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. scars reminds me of you. Oh, oh, oh. You left me with scars, but I know that one day you'll see it through. You see it through. You see it through. Ay. You see it through. You see it through.
And we are back, ready for draft number 2, ready for game number 2, and I'm not, I'm not expecting anything really different from both these two teams. It's always an entertaining match when we see them get put together. I don't expect any different bans coming out, realistically. I don't think anything on either side was too disrupting or too disturbing worth banning. I mean, maybe the Jax or Fiora, but other than that, I think we're going to have a roughly around the same little bit of setup here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be a little bit different here. We don't see Omega Mario Kart 7 banning away Smolder. So the onus is going to be on Khan to take it away. And there it is. There is the Smolder ban. It is going to continue with the trend of, a bunch of 80 carry bans from Omega Mario Kart 7, right? You're not going to let Absol get that Nocturne. You're not going to let Verticality get their hands on Lucian or the Draven. None of these super lane dominant 80 carries that can snowball that way, because as we've seen, Verticality, very good player, right? You had to play around the fact that, someone who was on a scaling champion was still able to win in the 2v2s, right? Meanwhile, the Jax, once again, first picked from Omega Mario Kart 7. I mean, very, very strong here. Interesting that Khan is the one that takes the Karma out of the picture. Now, that might tell you that the reason why the Karma was picked in that last game was because Khan did not want Omega Mario Kart 7 to take the Karma rather than them themselves feeling the strength of the Karma. Meanwhile, Zyra Khan immediately going to be taken on, Verticality's side as... Okay, so this might be a Kai'Sa Nautilus in immediate response. Very, very good 2v2 lanes from both of these teams here. Now, that is the potential. It might not necessarily come through, but, there it is, right? Kai'Sa Nautilus, tons and tons and tons of time have been put into perfecting this kind of a bot lane, and there's just so little that you can do on the receiving end, minus the ability to just leave the fight like how Xayah and Rakan do.
Yep, and Absol once again going to be returning to that Wukong. Has a little bit of better engaged champions this time around for his team. Has the Xayah Rakan. Obviously, that's a lot of CC combo. That's a lot of engage. Maybe looking Mario Kart 7 to negate that a little bit. We see a Nico ban coming down, and Rengar will be banned out. I'm guessing that's a topside pick that they want to play for. Fiora is still on the table, and as I say, that does get banned out, so maybe a little bit of a caster's curse there. But we will see Mario Kart 7 kind of opting for a little bit of almost the same style of play here. They really kind of want to brawl on top, so that tells me that they might be still looking to pick up the Swain. Maybe Khan will take the Swain away from them, but who knows? We will see here with Shima's pick.
I mean, either way, right here, I think you have to take the mid lane. Right? Because the biggest part of that last game was the fact that Rizzy just absolutely could not deal with any of King Koni's pressure. That Fiora was too much. So you had to take mid lane here. And Akali blind is a crazy statement. But, if you know that your opponent only really plays control mages, doesn't really play any of those mages that really want to scrap, like Swain, then you are totally fine with taking the Akali here. But the Jace could still be going into that mid lane, right? But also could be a top lane pick. But, that's the beauty of red side. You have the counter pick guaranteed for one of your solo lanes. So there we go. We actually do not have the counter pick guaranteed. You can't pick anything that's too particularly strong into one of these champs that can't deal with another. Like, let's say it's the Jace, then you take Irelia. Then you just swap the Gragas into top lane and play tank Gragas into it, right? But in the end, Cassante exists.
Yeah, when you can't counterpick, why not just pick the champ that does it all? So, that's something you could do. I still think that we're still not given who's going to be in which lane yet, because we can put Gragas mid, and you can put Jace top, or you can put Gragas top and Jace mid. It's looking like our lovely producer already has figured that out for us, though, as you can see on our screen. And we know where they will be going, so it will be Gragas top. I love Gragas. I don't know about you. I love Gragas. Absolute bunny champion. We just seen that he's getting a new skin as well with the release. I believe MSI is coming up, so they're going to do high noon skin lines again. So
Ooh, baby.
Gragas is getting a high noon skin. So I'm hyped for that, and I'm hyped for this game number 2. I'm excited to see both of these comps duke it out.
Yeah, I'm super excited right here. And okay, I really like this vision play from the side of Omega Mario Kart 7. And all of a sudden,
they
Apps are getting
flash
jumped
for
on.
it. I'm sorry, you are getting CC combo to death. Does have the clone, but it does not matter. You flash for that, Kaisa, but your mid laner steals the kill anyway. A little unfortunate there.
I mean, flash forward from King Coney as King Coney takes the kill away from King Coney. But, you know, two flashes burnt, both of them from the bottom King Conies here, as mid King Coney gonna come out on top.
Yep.
I'm not continuing this bit. It's gonna be too much.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. They did this to us on purpose.
Could we go top Coney, mid Coney, bot Coney?
That's definitely possible.
What if we just go top King, mid King, bot King?
Sorry, the only mid king is Faker, so.
He's more of an emperor, really. But, you know, either way.
True.
Either way,
Emperor of the
as
Saiyans, you could
this
call.
game goes on, Shima's taking a lot of early damage, but, you know, that's what the Doran Shield is for. That's what that Fleet Footwork is for. Jace does a lot of damage early on, but once you can get to that level 6 is when the Akali is going to start to shine.
I agree. I'm also really looking towards this top side because we could get a Gragas online early if you decide to gank for it and deny this Cassante from being able to play the game, which, as we know, Cassante, no matter what stage you get to, eventually he will be able to play the game no matter what, because the champion just does everything. But I would like to see a Gragas get ahead early because, well, that champion is pretty powerful if you can, you know, land those knockups into, you know, Riddy's waiting arms with the Jack stun. So I really am looking to see how this top lane matches up. I think the Jace Akali, already Jace has a kill, so has a little bit of an advantage. I've seen mid lane Jaces, honestly, one of my favorite things to watch in League of Legends. I think that they shine pretty heavily as we see, you know, the Nautilus just going to walk up, land a nice roots combo. Can they finish the kill, though? Stacking up against each other so they can't get the Q isolate, and Verticality can tank all of it. Great bot side aggression, though, coming out of the Omega Mario Kart 7 bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, that's a ton of aggression for not having flash, and the flash could matter a lot here.
Oh, they're going to be able to find the Nautilus Absol with a perfectly timed bot side gank to punish that support. Getting his bot lane ahead does take the kill, though.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that taking that kill for jungle is totally fine in this early game. I mean, a little bit of early gold means that you can get so much further in your clear so much faster, right? I mean, you're not at the point where you're going to be clearing camps before everything respawns just yet. So, you know, Absar getting that early kill allows you to get a lot more tempo. You know, you can get to those scuttles, you can get to those void grubs, but, you know, right now, you're going to have a lot of, you know, trading coming back and forth between Verticality and King Coney.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see both of these 80 carries get online too. So far, Verticality having that wave advantage, and ooh, Shima with the kickflip is going to be able to force Jace back to the tower. And we're going to have our first objective spawning. No bot side flash online still, so we see Absar returning. Brandon is going to get a knockup with the Ignite coming down too, so that should be the Kaisa falling. Can they be able to root up this Nautilus, though? Not going to be able to find that one, but with Dragon upline in 40 seconds, no sums on the enemy bot side. It was a free gank and potentially a free objective soon, too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I mean, those early flashes are getting punished so unbelievably hard by Khan. But King Coney coming on in.
Once again, they're pushing this fight in the bot side. We can't catch a break. Riddy forcing to go on to the 80 carry instead. Does get the flash out of Verticality, but can he get the kill? Absar's there for a bit of the build.
Oh!
Snipe from Kaisa from downtown, able to clean up that one. Finally gets a kill to her name. The clone will not be fooling King Coney Nautilus because he lands the drive line perfectly to be able to pick up that one. And it's looking like they have gotten the objective prio.
Yeah, and just like that, King, Coney, and Riddy going to be able to work together to make that one happen. So much damage from that Jax. Just coming in with that lethal tempo. There's just so little that they were able to do in that early game. Meanwhile, there's heavy trades back and forth in this mid lane. The Shroud just doing so much work here. But I don't know if you come on top.
The flash, and flash. This mid lane battle is crucial, left, right, and center. But Shima's able to come out on top again early on in the mid lane, just like last game.
Yeah, and I was saying that it was going to be hell until level 6, but this time around, Shima gonna be able to do it before level 6. Such an incredibly powerful solo laner. You have to be so careful against Shima. Now that the Akali has access to that early magic pen, you have to be so careful, especially because now it's going to be even harder for a lot of this damage to come through. Speaking of damage, Verticality is looking to try to mitigate some.
Another bot side gank. They are not leaving these champions to fight on their own accords. We've seen 3v3s, we've seen 3v2s, we've seen 1v3s. It's absolutely crazy in this AD carry lane. 2-1 already on the Kai'Sa, able to pick up that one and a plate on top of that. So she's going to have a ton of gold in her pocket. Riddy might be moving towards that first Hextech Dragon. The Void Grubs are online, and we see Apsar roaming down as well. So he's definitely not going to be getting it for free if this monkey in the jungle has anything to say about it. No, Cyclone online has not hit level 6, is going to be engaging onto Riddy. Realizes Shima's in the area, has the ultimate online, is going to be able to commit it, misses the kickflip though, and Riddy is able to go over the wall. King Coney going to be able to channel that Hextech Flash, going to go over the wall too to try and help get a kill into Shima, is going to commit the ultimate onto the Jace, trying to find that pick, is going to get rooted up, and the hook is going to come down onto this Akali, trying to clean her up, but the damage is not there. Verticality is able to slay the Jace, and it's a 2-for-0 trade out. They're going to get the Dragon too, potentially, if Avsar decides to go for it. And this Con team is coming alive in the early game.
Yeah, and you would think that the most teamwork would come from a team where everyone's named the same, but I mean, when you don't have all 5 of the members with the same name, I guess that's not quite going to come to fruition. Con going to be the ones coming out on top there. Beautiful rotation, beautiful timing, and this time around, it's Con who are going to be able to pull that momentum back into their favor. This is what we saw from Omega Mario Kart 7 the last time, and they snowballed that one into a huge win. So right now, the question is, how much longer can Con keep this one up?
I agree. Mario Kart 7 can still ball into the late game. Excuse me.
Oh,
sorry. My allergies decided to rudely interrupt what I was saying. But we see more bot lane action coming here. Both these teams leaving their top sides alone, recognizing that. But look at the CS lead that this Gragas already has over Rizzy. I mean, we've mentioned that it doesn't really matter because K'Sante left to his own accords will be fine no matter what. But at some point, I feel like you've got to send somebody to help him out to find some sort of lead in this lane.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a struggle until that point here, but either way, Verticality and Muzi trying to make something happen over here. Shima's just going to continue to trade back and forth, right? I mean, those early 2 kills are going to be very nice for the Akali, but until you know for a fact that the enemy jungler can't help, for a fact that you have lethal, it's going to be a little bit difficult to really push that envelope, to really push that lead there as far as the gold is concerned. But, once you get to those mid-game scuffles, scrambles, and oh my lord, speaking of jungler.
Yep, Cyclone onto the Jace. Gonna be able to help pick up that one. Committing the ultimate there, Shima too. So that's 2 ultimates for 1 kill. Really wanting to shut down this mid laner. I mean, last game, you were shut down a little bit on the Swain. On a champion like Swain, it doesn't really matter because you just press ultimate and you just exist in a team fight and you can win off that. Something like Jace, a little bit more carry potential. Definitely don't want to have to be playing from behind. And definitely don't want to be feeding an Akali.
Yeah, absolutely not. Akali, one of those champions that can just absolutely make the bot lane's life a living hell. Speaking of which, this Kai'Sa, I really like this build path here, especially with the Halo Blades. We're going to be getting an Eclipse Kai'Sa. So this is going to be the AP Kai'Sa, as it's going to be a lot of W max, and also with the elixirs. It's super interesting because you usually don't level your ultimate at level 11 on the AP Kaisa with Eclipse, but because of the elixirs
no.
being added to the game, you can
Oh
actually
no,
avoid that.
it's
But oh my
another
lord.
mid-side gank here. The quickness comes down, forces the flash out of the Jace. They have not found the kills just yet, but he is absolutely dying. They are punishing the crap out of this Jace. It was all bot lane early. Now it's looking like they want to squish out the mid lane. At some point, you've got to find an angle, Mario Kart 7, to try and negate this, get your mid laner back online, because you're losing objective prio left, right, and center if you're unable to get a mid-wave prioritization.
Meanwhile, right here, Shima just going to be able to put every single bit of farm into that tower, just get that all shoved in with that teleport advantage, with that flash advantage. This Akali should be sitting tight in this mid lane, and not only has to stay mid lane, can also just roam around the entire map, just start to spread that power here. And okay, so instead of the Eclipse build that we could have been getting from this Kaisa, we're getting a different kind of Kaisa build. Instead, I do believe this is the Manamune into Luden's Echo, or Luden's Helper, Luden's Companion. Oh my god, they keep on changing the name of the Luden's item. But the point of it is that, you have the Manamune. Once it's turned into the Muramana, you should be able to get a full Evo off. And on the rest of the map, it's a question as to whether or not you're going to be able to get all of those item spikes coinciding at the same time.
I agree. We see some, camera action to the top side. This is about the most action this top side has gotten about the entire game. But, Sheen is online, got those plated steel caps. That is a Rod of Ages on the Gragas with a little bit of CS lead too. So he's going for that hyper scaling, maybe looking to pivot in to take items after that, or could be committing to full AP. We see Shima and Jace duking it out once again in this mid side. I don't think he really has any fights that he wants to take here. Probably understands that Absolar is lurking around a corner somewhere to be able to come in and knock him up. Meanwhile, we have 15 seconds before this Infernal Dragon will be online. Right now, bot lane prio is in favor of Khan, and they have no chance, Mario Kart 7, to roam up in time just yet. They're going to be able to shove this wave back out. Riddy is going to be a little bit late to the party. Muzi maybe looking for a grand entrance onto that Kaisa there, but is going to opt not to. 4 members of Khan already moved into this dragon, and I think Riddy is going to try and give this one and go for a little bit of counter jungling.
Yeah, I mean, right here, the Jax is slowly going to be getting farmed up. We saw this earlier, right, where Jax just got so much gold, just got to start to take over so much of that game here. Meanwhile, Muzi, Verticality, and Abs are looking for King Coney in this bot lane.
I know, once again, they're trying to punish this Kaisa. Muzi may be the one that gets turned on here, as Shima is coming down through this jungle as well. They maybe want to find this support. No engage onto them just yet, but you got to be careful. This is still a 2v4 potential. But that's a nice shot from Jace there to be able to chunk down this Akali. That's probably going to prohibit her from roaming a bit.
Yeah, just a bit here, but I mean, Coney still has to be pretty careful in that mid lane, as this tower dive is very much a possibility. Meanwhile, Void Grub's gonna get launched up by the side of Omega Mario Kart 7. We saw 6 Void Grubs the last time around. That's not going to be happening this time, thankfully enough. I mean, those towers were just folded like paper the last time with those Void Grubs available. But Shima now just going for these heavy trades again and again. When you have that fleet footwork, you want to try and proc it as many times as you can, make use of that healing, get all that damage off. And on a champion like Akali, who gets the extended auto range, it's super, super helpful. Meanwhile, first tower goes down without the need of the Herald. So King Coney in that top lane, once again, showing that dominance, just feeling real, real good about themselves.
Yep, Rift Herald will be picked up, so that's an objective finally going into the favor of Mario Kart 7. They're looking to continue a gold lead. It's the only real advantage that they have at the moment. They do have a little bit of a bot side advantage, at least in terms of, well, not really much. They're about even, probably. There's a bounty on the Kaisa, though, probably because she only has 1 death. But yeah, they're looking to find any sort of angles that they could push some sort of advantage. And this Rift Herald is what I'm thinking is going to find that. They've got the first bot side top side tower down. congrats to Gragas Coney. I believe was able to take out that one. So first tower of the game was able to fall. So maybe they're going to look to pry out this mid lane to force this pressure back because Jace has not been able to protect his tower very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's about as well as the champ can do it, but sometimes when you're falling behind like this, especially into someone who has so much kill pressure on you, like Akali, you just have to start to concede more and more of this tower health, right? I mean, the Akali can only push so long into a Jace who just has so much wave clear, but I mean, when she starts to get, 1-2 good trades, then she can start to walk up, get those autos off on the tower, and man, does she chunk, especially with that fully completed Lich Bane. Meanwhile, in the bot lane here, I do believe, that we're going to be getting more and more crazy stuff as this goes on, right? Kai'Sa has not yet spiked, but, I mean, Coney, oh my god, man, is just walking straight up.
Riddy has realized that they want to go for a fight, and it's all the members of Con looking to fight back. We even saw a glimpse of Shima coming down to the bot side too. They do not want to have any messing around here. They're going to send all of the numbers to a fight that they possibly can to come out on top. They do not want to be able to see any sort of weakness. Riddy's going to run into Muzi in the bot side though. Maybe Kuni is able to force them out, but Absar will be there to help that support be able to retreat in time. And I'm not thinking this bot lane turret is going to live much longer. Riddy notices the gank, probably a little bit too late. Flash forward with the quickness. There's no HP on that Kai'Sa whatsoever. A TP coming in from Gragas, and I believe that will be Rizzy TPing into. So we have a 3v4 stun out onto Shima. This is actually a 3v5 under the bot side turret. Has only a quarter of HP. This is a lot of prio for the King Coney Jace in the mid lane. Is going to get a good amount of chunk in return for this. And nothing will really come up of it in the bot side except for somebody got that Kai'Sa shut down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge amount of gold, a huge amount of damage off on the side of Khan here. And, they might not be dropping a tower, but they don't drop their mid tower in response at the very least, right? You're still going to be down in terms of towers because of that early first tower by King Coney, but, once again, the mid lane going to be able to roam up and make things a living hell here as Gragas just does so much work. Oh my god, with that Lich Bane, with that Rod of Ages. And here we go, Drift King coming on in.
Mid lane turret has fallen. As all the EU crowd chant, we got a as the Rift Herald does crash in the mid lane. They have two towers to their names. Flash forward out of Rizzy. They're looking to force a fight here. The all-out will be committed onto King Coney. He will end up falling. Shima goes in with the ultimate, trying to clean up one of this guy's side. It's two members already fallen. Absol is cleaning up this, but Riddy's able to trade out for one onto the Cassante. So it's looking pretty solid. Maybe able to get a little bit of a CC chain on the turret, but will not. Absol able to clean up that one onto the Wukong. This Con team is team fighting exceptionally well, especially compared to how the first game went, and they're looking to go straight into Soul Point already.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much control from the side of Khan. Red side's been playing super great today, and I mean, that was a solid knockback from the Gragas, but I like the fact that there's no sort of over pushing, right? I mean, you got the good knockback, but you're not going to burn the flash to try to get a maybe kill on a Xayah, that still has ultimate. Meanwhile, this Gragas is slowly becoming unstoppable, is what I would say if Rizzy wasn't continually building up that MR, right? I mean, once you get that magic resist fully completed, then the Cassante will be able to go toe-to-toe with that Gragas. And, I mean, it's just like you said, Cilantro, right? No matter how far behind Cassante gets, he is always going to be eventually useful. Meanwhile, Absar, very much not going to get to be useful on this life, right?
Oh, a flash forward onto the Xayah. Verticality might be caught out here. It is already burned. The Ghost. The feathers will fall. The flash will be committed. Riddy goes forward with the stun. Can they find the kill to smite?
Oh!
barely enough damage. They're trying to force it, and the quickness from Muzi going in. Shima has the kickflip, lands it. The shurikens come down. That's a shutdown. Can they be able to find more? One more ultimate proc. The kickflip lands onto the minion there. We'll get this kick on the Jace, but the Jace is able to get the shutdown there. Now they're looking to turn on the Muzi. Verticality falls, and Muzi falls next, and it is flipping on a dime again. Anti. It's looking Mario Kart 7 bringing it back.
And coin flip is the name of the game, as a beautiful play from Kaisa, going to be able to hold onto that killer instinct until the Rakan just barely dashes back to the Xayah. And all of a sudden, killer instinct takes the Kaisa all the way into that backline. I mean, you've got the Manamune finished. You've got that Luden's Companion finished. So these are some incredibly important breakpoints. And next is going to be that Nashor's Tooth. I do believe it is. So that way you can start getting that attack speed online. And this Kaisa is in such a good spot here. I mean, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about earlier, right? This is a very specific kind of build where, you know, after those buffs to Kaisa's ultimate, right? Her rank 1 ultimate is honestly a totally fine cooldown, right? You're not going to be needing to use it for much more than that. The only real reason to increase the ultimate rank at that point is for the distance, right? So there's been a lot of Kaisa players who have been opting to skip putting another point into ultimate after rank 1. So by taking the elixir of skill, or, you know, the elixir of fortitude, whatever, you can actually get yourself into a position where you can get a fully stacked up W at, I believe, level 11, right? So that's an absolutely crazy thought. Or, you know, you could just go the safe route, get a second point into your ultimate, and then you still have fully stacked up W at level 12, right? You know, it's all about spiking, and it's all about this Kaisa spiking as soon as possible.
Oh, we see Rizzy pushing onto this Gragas, knows that his jungler is in the area, but the reinforcements are coming. It's a TP coming out of this Jace. Just live a little bit longer, Gragas. Drink your pots. He's potentially turning this onto Absol. Actually, the shutdown comes out from Shima. Shima's able to find 2 in that fight. Now, maybe they're turning onto this 80 carry.
Oh.
The Kaisa's going to go in with the killer instinct, so they're able to find 1. And this is a fight that could be won by Mario Kart 7. They have an 80 carry alive, and they have the health bars, but they've got to be careful because that Kali is nothing to be messing around with, so they're not going to opt for a fight. They're at least able to trade out. I think it was 2 for 1 at minimum there.
Yeah, I do believe so, but okay. I mean,
walks
really
up, bonks the Gronk, and steals it. They're going to push the fight onto Absol. The dredge line lands. Kaisa, no killer instinct this time, so cannot dash in. Has got to be careful because Rizzy is running up on you. And Shima wants to find you. You're an 80 carry. You're an easy kill for him. But maybe Shima's an easy kill for them. The CC lock up. Shima's already a quarter of HP. They've got to be careful. But Rizzy is there in the fight to be able to tank absolutely everything as that K'Sante does, but it's another TP, and it's the Gragas returning. Is soon to have the ultimate online. Goes over the wall with the knockup. Can he be able to poof them back into the waiting hands of the team? Is going to opt not to use the ultimate there, as most of the members of Con are forced to retreat.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking so good for a second, but just like that, Omega Mario Kart 7 have once again wrestled all that momentum away from Con. There's just so much that you have to watch out for from this squad. They know exactly how far they can push these things. Usually, teams won't be limit testing on the main stage, but I mean, that's pretty much all Omega Mario Kart 7 really likes to go for. I mean, look at these W's from King Tony. Those max ranked W's, just spamming them again and again.
But with the quickness, is able to dodge out the charm though, Jace. And it's Absol with the Cyclone. It's a nice knock-up. Gragas is in there, the kickflip, but it's so far 1 for nothing. And the Shima with the ultimate is doing a ton of damage, but it might not matter. It's 3 for 1 so far in favor of Mario Kart 7. Make it 4 for 2. They're going to turn on to the Kaisa. That's a shuriken flip. You do not want to end up taking. They're going to move down and take their first dragon of the game, but it's looking all too familiar for this matchup. Khan wins out in the early game. Mario Kart 7 brings it back into the late game. It's looking so gruesome for them right now.
Yeah, and I cannot believe that that Kaisa is just doing so much damage, right? I mean, look at the positioning in some of these fights. It's absolutely incredible. Meanwhile, Shima, the only one able to get on top of that Kaisa. But the moment that you're on that Kaisa, she pops so fast, right? I mean, you got 3 items on that Kaisa, not a single one of them defensive. It's just damage on damage on damage. The Crypt Bloom, just so much value in these later fights. I'm excited to see just how impactful this Kaisa really gets, especially after we saw all of those W's just do so much, just continue to just hit away at the side of Khan, just soften up those health bars again and again. Just the moment you miss one of those is when that W starts to, you know, kind of hurt in terms of how things feel. But this could be big.
They're gonna get pinched. It's Shima going for the 80 carry. The Cyclone comes down, looking to potentially guilt that killer instinct into his team, but it's Khan fighting back. The vision was not there for Mario Kart 7, but the vision was there for Khan, and they win out that team fight. They're gonna be able to win off the Baron. Gragas able to trade out at least potentially a topside turret in the meanwhile. That's a crucial objective for Khan there. They're going to dwindle this gold lead back and maybe swing it into their favor. And they already have a bit of an item advantage. So that's a really not fight you wanted to have taken there, Mario Kart 7.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they might be thinking that they're just as strong as they were in that last game, right? I mean, Jack's last game went 8-1 at one point. Meanwhile, Shima now at 9-1, looking to turn into 9-2 soon enough, but sliding away. The flash as well. Oh my god, Shima just so hard to catch here, but eventually going to be going down. The Kali can bleed, and the god can fall.
Yeah, all the movement in the world was not going to end up saving you there, unfortunately. You know, King Coney Nautilus had the CC lock on point. And, you know, Gragas, of course, can dash over walls, too. Maybe they're looking to get a little bit of a punish onto verticality on this Xayah, too. It's Nautilus sticking around, maybe looking to find out. It might be Xayah not finding out. Is going to use that Baron recall to be able to get out in time. And now you're just playing Wave Shove Simulator if you are Mario Kart 7 and looking to fight for the next dragon.
Yeah, I mean, when you're at Soul Point, you don't really want to be giving over these dragons, but at the same time, right, it is still a Cloud Soul. So you have to be a little bit careful, right? There's only so much that you can really do. And speaking of how much you can do, that is a lot that they are doing to this Jace. Jason's not really gotten a chance to play this game. But
maybe they don't want to find the Gragas. I'm sorry. Does go back in off the clone, though. And, you know, that HP, they're maybe looking for a fight here. Riddy is itching for it. Wants to get onto that jungler's life stealing off of the blue buff. Looking, does not proc the stunt just yet. Over the wall goes Muzi. And they're going to opt to not take a fight here. Right now, honestly, it's pretty scary because Khan is winning out in most of the solo trades here.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're just gonna see as time and time again, Khan will just be in a good position only to have the momentum just pulled out from under them by Omega Mario Kart 7, right? You know, it's like these guys just know exactly how far they can push things no matter what stage of the game they're in. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing those Kaisa W's start to come on out yet again, right? I love this build from Kaisa's very specific play style, but you know, this team has been playing around it very well, not pushing too far when you don't have the poke finished just yet. But the moment that all that poke has come on in, man, that Kaisa damage is so impactful.
And that Baron buff has brought the gold lead down to within 1,000 gold. We have another objective in 50 seconds. If you're Mario Kart 7, this is one that you have to fight for. If you're Khan, you realistically don't have to fight for it. You probably will. You're sitting in a really good spot. You got that Void Gem online too. So that's a good Magic Pen buff for Shima. Can look to get into that backside and one-shot the back line even stronger. 3 items on most of the members, maybe looking to get that Rabadons onto the Gragas, but, you know, Khan, they're not going to allow for that to happen. They're going to force a team fight right here, right now. They moved in and have already taken this jungle position. So now, if you're a Mario Kart 7, you got to shove out the mid wave, maybe even just respond with a mid turret if you like, that's something you want to go for, and then move in to the jungle from there. They're pulling all of the members of Khan into the mid lane. That is what they're opting to do. It's a nice W and Q from the Kaisa and Jace. Absol are already half HP. They're just going to walk up and start taking this inhibitor turret. It will fall before Khan is able to fight on top of it. And now we're potentially going to see a fight take out here. The quickness is proc. That's a nice charm. Double knockup going on stop. Absol comes over the wall with the flash and Cyclone, not really hitting much onto anything as Riddy goes forward onto the Isaiah. Is able to get out for now. Meanwhile, Absol is winning out with the fight onto the Jace. The spike comes down and says it's Saya trading out 1-for-1 so far. So far, this bot lane is winning out this fight. Riddy is able to slay Absol. Mario Kart 7 is winning out of the team fight verticality. You've got to run away. You've got to live, but you've got a Jax that can go over walls, chasing you down. Might not be able to live this time. You have no feathers. Does flash over the wall. Riddy does not have a flash to respond, but is not going to let this AD carry get out for free. It's another dragon picked up for Mario Kart 7 in a crucial team fight that they needed to win.
Yeah, I mean, look at that fight again, and it was just so much of that was Omega Mario Kart 7 playing around their Kaisa. There was so much damage that this AD carry was allowed to just put out. Not a single time was the Kaisa in danger due to some beautiful positioning, some phenomenal use of the skill shots, of the abilities, not always going into auto range for every single little thing, but autoing whatever it is that you can. I honestly love the way how Omega Mario Kart 7 has been playing this one out, and Shima looking for a desperate play.
Is gonna miss the shuriken flip. Absol comes in for a little bit of peel.
The
Gragas forced the flash away, and Riddy is coming online for his team. The Grandmaster at Arms looking to chase down Absol, but Jace will be able to find that one. Shima was unable to trade out onto the Gragas as Rizzy will end up falling. That Cassante health bar looked like a chunk of cheese as how fast it got shredded. And now they're going to be pushing in this bot side, looking to take the bot inhibitor turret. And the mistakes from Khan are starting to get detrimental, as this could be a game ender. I mean, this Mario Kart 7 team is on the top of our standings for a reason, and they are proving it here. These last two members, Muzi and Verticality, the bot lane, to bring it home for Khan, and they get absolutely obliterated. The dredge line would not let you retreat to spawn. You get rooted up, and you might live for now, but your Nexus definitely won't. You thought you were going to take a map from Mario Kart 7, and you need to start thinking again, because they take the game 2-0.
And just like that, once again, Omega Mario Kart 7 showing off exactly why the players are the players to beat, right? You know, a perfect record going into this season, and beautiful team play at every moment.
Jesus.
Whether they're ahead, whether they're behind, it does not matter. You have to be where you have to know what your win conditions are, where everyone is. There's so much to think about at all times. Meanwhile, these guys just walk into a lane all together at the right times and just say, hey, what if I just took your entire base?
Yep. And they took a team fight right then and there that they knew they could win the game off of. I mean, we have to give the MVP to King Coney, right?
I mean, really did pretty dang well in that early game. And King Coney had a few rough moments in this game. I mean, Shima... excuse me. Shima got so unbelievably far ahead, right?
Oh, yeah.
But in the end, the Akali was not able to really take all of that gold and distribute it across the team. But, you know, it was a valiant effort. So we're going to be seeing these teams duke it out again sometime in the future, but that'll be it this time around, you know, as Omega Mario Kart 7 seals things off 2-0. Honestly, very interesting games, very interesting drafts. One might wonder whether or not they're making use of pro comps, some, you know, incredibly great tools that you could use for drafting. I know, Cilantro, you had a few complaints about the draft in game number 1, but, you know, we had a few back and forths here, and it's the real back and forth right now is Omega Mario Kart 7 versus the world, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's not a single team that's been able to make these guys bleed. They're so unbelievably strong, so unbelievably competent that it's going to be very, very difficult to see just how it is that they're going to ever fall.
Yep, and that puts them at 6-0 and a 12-0 in our standings. So I think that they've 100% solidified a playoff spot. I mean, there's no way that they can lose it at this point, I don't think, even if they lose the next 3 games. So that you know, they're going to be the team to beat going into playoffs. I think that's a decent game to VOD review if I'm opponent teams, because we see the early game of Mario Kart 7 struggled a bit against Con there in game number 2, and the late game in game number 1 struggled a bit against Con for Mario Kart 7. So if a team can recognize those mistakes that they're making, we could see somebody put a fight towards Mario Kart 7 as we go into next week or even into the playoffs. But yep, that's going to end up doing it for us. As you can see, this was the schedule. I don't have an update on who has won all of these games just yet, but if you need to know, make sure you follow us on Twitter or you are in our Discord. You can definitely get those updates whenever you please. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next week, Anti. I don't know who we're going to be casting just yet, but I'm sure it's going to be another banger.
Always is. But either way, y'all take care, and thanks for tuning in.
You are what I waited for. You make me touch the sky when I'm down. 'Cause when I'm with you, I'm fine. When you go, I'm sad. I like my life with you. 'Cause you're one love, one love. And I'm not saying lies. You're the one my heart, my heart. You make me feel alive.
was right.